Bashar al-Assad, why are you fighting us with hunger? We are only children.
نحن اليوم 7/1/2016 ضمن المشفى الميداني في مضايا. تعرضنا حوالي 200 حالة إغماء نتيجة عدم تناول الطعام منذ حوالي أسبوع. هذا أحد النماذج الغذاء الشديد الذي ظاهر على الأخوان.
The Syrian regime has held the town of Madaya under siege for 6 months. People in the city, which has a population of 42,000, are being starved. Their suffering has become the latest media flashpoint to illustrate the horrors of Syria's civil war, now in its 5th year. But what was the state of Madaya before pictures of its starving children went viral?
Well, the situation in Madaya and other besieged areas are absolutely horrific. Like you see the photos of kids and mothers and adults who are absolutely like starving to death. They are like on the edge of death because of the lack of food and medications. And this Assad, actually, this is not a new thing. It's not a new tactic Assad is using in Syria. Assad has been using food as a weapon for almost 3 years. So basically, when Assad failed to break into the opposition-held areas by force, he used like all kinds of weapons he has got, including chemical weapons, and then he started using food as a weapon. And this is a war crime, and this shouldn't be tolerated by the international community.
Madaya isn't the only city in Syria suffering from a lack of food, nor is it the only town receiving aid this week. When Hezbollah and the regime took over most of the nearby town of Zabadani, they also cut off its major food supply line. Doctors Without Borders says 28 people have died of starvation since the beginning of December alone, and the last time the city received aid was October. The UN may have reached a deal with the regime to allow aid into the town. It's delivered what's been described as 1 month's supply of food. But what will happen once the people of Madaya leave the media spotlight? The UN says only 10% of its aid requests to besieged and hard-to-reach places have been fulfilled in the last year. And Doctors Without Borders has said the crisis in Madaya won't be solved by a single delivery of food. Meanwhile, the UN says all parties in the Syrian conflict may be committing war crimes by placing people under siege. It says about 400,000 Syrians are under siege and don't have access to enough food. Human Rights Watch Deputy Middle East Director Nadim Khouri said the suffering in Madaya should serve as an urgent reminder that the people in besieged areas of Syria are desperate for food, shelter and healthcare. Access to besieged communities should be a test of the intentions of the warring parties, who say they'll enter into sincere negotiations later this month.
Of course, I welcome the statement made by the Syrian ambassador to say this should be sustained and should be repeated. In answer to a question put to me by members of the Security Council when asked this very same point, said that this is the norm that we need to be having, and this is, of course, the obligation under international law, humanitarian, human rights, and all laws.
And what happens when the UN's food delivery runs out? Starvation of the people of Madaya is one of the many atrocities of Syria's civil war. The UN says more than 250,000 people have died in the war since last August. More than half the country's population has been displaced. There are suggestions the situation in Madaya is perhaps a reminder that the time has come to put a stop to short-term crisis management and deal with the real factors in order to end the civil war.